Hello, this is the first demo of Salut components library for a web. In this demo, I'm going to show you two things. First is Salut components library. And second is a web application where these components are used. Let's say like that. So components or component library basically is a building blocks which then could be used to build web applications or other components. As a basic component, let's imagine that we have a button, or we could have a label, or we probably could have some kind of input. This is a basic building blocks of any other components or application. We also can use basic building blocks to build more complicated controls or components, like let's say login component, which is actually consists of other components like label, input, and for example a button, which then displayed on a web page like login here, input for username, and OK button. Then as soon as we have these building blocks, we can use these building blocks in external application. Let's say we have a MinDP application, and this is already a website, or let's say some kind of web app, which has our its own structure. Let's say some content here, some content here. It has some menu, some data, some content. And then we'd like to use this login component, let's say right here. So we'll place login component from our components library, which then rendered as a login here with an input and with a button. Okay, let me show you this basic building blocks. So this is a Salut components library developers workplace. And this is a web project where we have a list of our Salut components. Let's take, for example, a button component, and this is just a React code with a JSX, with events and with everything, where we can create our component. We can assign some behavior or some structure to that component. But also as part of this workplace, we have examples of how to use these components. For example, here for a button component, I already created two examples. Like we import button component from our Salut React library, and then just return as JSX. I also show another one use case where this button is used together with some additional properties like text. Now, if I start this application, it will run my own Salut developers sandbox, where I can develop, test any component. For example, for a button component, we have a button page. At this page, as I already mentioned, we have two examples. This is how this button looks. We can click on it. It doesn't do anything right now. But I also can see a code how to apply this component to any other React application. For example, this is a pure code rendered from an example. And I also can see all properties of this button. For example, here we have on-click event. It's a function, it's required. We also have a text property, which is string. It has default value and it's not required. So this is building blocks and place where I can develop these building blocks. The same, for example, for a label. This is two use cases for our label component. or let's say this is an input component with a huge amount of properties. This is some input where we say it's required and display some styling for required components. So this is our developers sandbox. Now let's get back to the whiteboard. I will place a button here and okay. So as already mentioned, we can use components to build other components. For example, let's imagine that as our building blocks, we have component like let's say slider. And this is something like that. Some slider where we can place or choose some value from the slider. Or we also have a component, let's mention like progress steps, where we display our current progress as some steps. And let's say here we just started some wizard with some progress maker. We also could imagine that we have a questionnaire component. Which is actually a text with a progress, with a slider, and with a button. All of these are Salut building blocks. Let me make a demo of building blocks for the questionnaire. First one is slider. And slider is a component where we can select single value from several possible options. Let's say this is a demo of a default slider. So this is something that we can drag in order to get some value. It's called pure simple. It's just a slider component. If we check properties of the slider, we can see that we can provide list of options, default values, some values. We can show some additional data. We can handle and change functions. It allows us to build, for example, control like that. It's a slider with 5 possible options, with a default value pre-selected, with a list of options like this array. And for example, we would like to show value. Let's say then when we move slider, the current selected value is displayed here on the screen. So this is list of examples of our slider component. Let's check what we have for progress steps. This is also 3 use cases for the component we already have, and this is custom steps. Progress control, it's just a progress steps, which displays some some progress. Also could provide some steps count and current step. For example, this one consists of 6 steps with 3 already like marked as completed. We also can say that this progress is clickable. For example, we can allow to choose any kind of progress or something like that. Now, having all of these building blocks, we can build more complicated controls, like let's say questionnaire. And this is complete questionnaire component, which as a parameters requires to have a questionnaire ID. And this ID is something what we display here on a screen. Let's say our questionnaire component allow us to choose some value, click some button, send some results to the server. I will click a couple times unless I find the last step. This is the last step. And we have a submit button. And as a result, we have just a submit result to the API server. Proof that it actually works, let's open our developer tools. And here in the console, we can click submit. And this is submit a request to Salut API dev. Payload is some our data, and response is something what Salut API answered us as a submission result. Now, this is just a Salut sandbox which we use for developing our controls. Let's talk about how to use all of these controls. Let me go to the whiteboard once again. So we have our Salut library, which basically consists of some controls, button, label, questionnaire, and we need to output this source code, these controls as something that can be used on other web applications. For that, we use Babel to transpile our controls. So here, control source codes. So this is a source code of my component, and when I'm happy with developing all the features I'd like to put, I can run a build of our components library. And as a build, we have output package, our lib, which is actually pure JavaScript. This is what our button been transformed to. So this is React app in its build state. Now, as soon as we don't have, so this is a library I can put in any web app, where then I import my library and then use in any web application. Questionnaire, progress, or something like that, having all other content from the app itself. As soon as we don't have distribution process, so I will build my library once again. It has a lib folder as a build result, and what I will do, I just copy this build library to the some application I'm going to use it. For example, this is other application. I will copy my library, and this is let's say MinDB web application. This some external website. It has its own source code, it has its own application, it has its own components. But in one of these components, I'd like to use component from a Salut library, which is provided here as output from our lib. So this is our button in output format. In my application, I can import my controls and then, for example, use on some web pages. I will start this MinDB web application. It will load my original website, and in that website, we already can see Salut control. Let me open DevTools to see to show a dialog with the server. Let's refresh. As a first call, we have initialize to get some data from API server. Then I can answer some questions, provide some values like that. And also I can submit result. As a result of submission, we see some response from the API server. Right now it's API on dev. Here, Salut dev. This questionnaire component, it is smart enough as soon as we placed this component. It's smart enough to do following things. Probably this responsibility need to be split to different components, but for now it can check if guest account already created. Check guest account. If not, create guest account, login with a guest account, get questionnaire data, display, grab results, and 7 display output from the questionnaire. Let me make a demo here. I will drop my previous application authentication data like that. Then I open a network tab to show a dialog. Here I need to refresh my web application. Here we can see that first thing called to create a guest account. Then with the guest account we obtained a token, guest account and password, and then we called initialize with the guest account for the questionnaire ID. Then if we submit some answers, last API call, we submit answers and get result from the API, and for now we just show the submission result. Basically that's it for the first demo of our components library and demo application where we're already using our components. Thank you so much. Hello, let me make a demo of Salut web widgets already deployed on a client website. So during this demo, I'm going to show you Salut library, Salut MinDP application, and Salut and client website. I will start from the end. So let's imagine that we have some client website. It would be written with a PHP or HTML or absolutely anything. What we ask in order to deploy Salut widget is to add link to Salut styles, to add some little piece of HTML and JavaScript. So let's check the client website. Here it's hosted on my local host. And let's, for example, somewhere in this web page, with a website, we have a web page where would like to add Salut widget. So here are a couple pages, and this is a place for Salut widget. So as a client web app developer, I'm going to add link to styles, and this is linked to some Salut Asia. I'm also going to add a little piece of HTML saying where exactly I'd like to have a Salut component or Salut widget. let's say it's somewhere here. And also I need to add a link to JavaScript to Salute Azure with a web component logic plus a little piece of configuration. This is something what we as Salute developers would like to embed into the client website. For example, here it could be list of keys or some kind of configuration or anything else. Just for demo purposes, I'm embedding a link to the environment where this MinDP component is executed. So after saving all of this, I can go to client website, refresh, and here we can see Salute widget. This is MinDP app questionnaire where we can provide some answers. For now, it's only one questionnaire. Okay, we can provide all of this and we can submit results, submit data and see some results. Okay, so with that, we have a links to Salute widget in Salute Azure, and it's possible to embed this type of app in any kind of web client website. Now, if we get back to scope of the demo, let's imagine that we as Salute developers decided to make little changes inside the Salute library and publish new version of the Salute MinDP, which means that all our clients websites where this widget is embedded needs to see updated version. So as a Salute developer, I'm going to modify or improve Salute components library. Let's say it's somewhere here. This is our Salute library source code. Here we have a questionnaire component. This is pure React code. I can run this development or components development environment in order to develop my little pieces of the functionality. Oops. Yep. So this is my questionnaire component. Now it's loading. Now we got some data. Let's imagine that I'm a Salute developer, would like to display the current environment this component is executed. Let's say I will add this env label. So right now I'm in a dev environment. So this is improved version of Salute questionnaire component. As a developer, I'm happy with all of these development things, and I'd like to publish new version of this component. In order to do so, I need to build this library. So npm build library. After this library is built, we have an output here in the lib fold, and this is outgoing result from our library. This is transpiled React code, which then is possible to use as a web component in other places. So next, this Salute library will have a build scripts and a publish scripts of our library, for example, into Salute npm. Right now we don't have Salute npm, so what I will do, I just copy build result of the Salute library into the Salute MinDP application. I'll delete old library and copy new library. So let's imagine that it was an npm update for the MinDP project. Now In the demo, I will show Salut MinDP app, and this is intermediate application which hosts several Salut components. Then it has a build ready for public web published to Salut Azure. So let's make changes or just verify that our updated Salut component works fine. I can start this MinDP app as a developer. So this is my MinDP application built from a Salut app. And already I can see that this is updated version of the MinDP app of a questionnaire component, which reports current environment it's hosted on. Okay, I'm happy with this MinDP app. I have completed development. And what I need to do is to provide bundles for hosting. I will make this this bundled web application. Right now it's here. It's going to be created here in the build folder. And then output of this build folder will go to the Azure. So this is something ready to be published publicly in a this pure JavaScript, minified, uglified, and ready to see new applications. So what I'm going to do, instead of hosting to Azure, I will host this app at my local computer. Let's see it's hosted. Let's check that it displays a bundled version of the app, exactly what's going to be hosted in Azure. If I refresh, we can see minified version of the JavaScript, minified version of the CSS, and all other things. So as soon as this is new version, we have new hash for JavaScript, and now we ask our clients to target to the latest version of the MinDP application. In order to do so, here I will modify the client application web app sources with a new version of the JavaScript posted at the Salut site. When I save this, I go to a client website and I refresh client website. Here I can see that updated version of the questionnaire component from MinDP application being loaded, and new functionality from the latest questionnaire component reporting the current version is posted on the client's website. Basically, that's it for the demo. Thank you so much. Well, this is a little demo for developers who would like to develop and deploy MinDP for web application. I'm talking about this one with a questionnaire placed on a MinDP website as a reusable widget. So the whole component or project, if we can say, consists of two parts. First one is a Salut React.js library and MinDP React.js widget. Library is a set of building blocks used then to build MinDP app. If we open our JavaScript library, here we have a simple React.js application. In the source folder, we have our components, and in docs, we see an examples of how to use these components. In order to start this development environment, we can use npm start, which loads a developer's environment with all components, with information how to use component, or how to embed component, or just developer instructions here for the components library. Okay, so let's say we need to do some kind of modification, so we change something, so we edit source code here of the component here, and then we just test it in the developer's environment here. Okay, when we're done with the development of a component, individual components, we can build this library with npm run build lib command. This command will get all our components and place into the lib folder, and this is something what could be placed into npm as a library, npm package manager as a library, or as soon as we don't have npm connection right now, we can just manually copy this build output here from the components library lib folder into the MinDP application. So this is MinDP application, Salut MinDP app, source Salut lib. This is old version of Salut library. We can replace it with a new one. Okay. This is just a simulation of npm update command for the Salut library. Now, if we start MinDP application, it's another one React.js application where we have Salut library as components, and then we just use these components to build front-end for the MinDP. Here's MinDP UI. We have some pages, some components, and some logic specifically for MinDP. Now it's possible to start this MinDP app locally and test it on developer's machine like that. So this is a MinDP app built with Salut components like that. Now when we're happy with development of MinDP app, we can build production version of the MinDP app. For that, npm run build. This command produces a build or output bundle with the MinDP application. Here is a minified, uglified JavaScript application. Now this one could be deployed to the corresponding environment. For that, we also go to our files explorer, MinDP app build. Here is build result of CSS files and JavaScript files. I rename from this new hashed version of the file. Same goes for the JavaScript, but not from a chunk file, because this name is used by the React. I will rename only my app. Here. Okay, now these two folders are ready to be deployed. Also in the MinDP React widget, we have Salut MinDP app publish. This is exactly what goes to corresponding environment on Azure. So let's say we will deploy dev. In the dev, root public MinDP. app static, we need to drop these two files and replace with the latest from the build result. Now, in order to deploy this version to Azure, we can go to Azure control panel, select MinDP dev, go to advanced tools, go to files explorer. Here we have site wroot, public, MinDP, version, app, static. This is exactly what's previous version deployed. Here we can easily delete this one and replace with the updated version. So the static and then something like that. Oops. Okay. Yeah. JS and CSS. Like that. We manually deployed dev MinDP app. Now we can go here to the README file, find the link to the simulation of the client website. Yep, here is updated version deployed to dev. Okay, on dev we have a cost problem. I will show you on TST. So let's go to TST folder in the README. You can see the TST client website simulation. Like that. Or we also can go to EZZ website posted to our Azure in order to see the same deployed version of the MinDP app. That's it for the demo, and thank you so much.